Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on Superman Lois Season 4 and also the CW, because we got some major breaking news in regards to what's happening over at the CW. And you guys know that I like to update you guys because the CW is a train wreck right now, and after Superman Lois is done, I don't think any of us are going to be watching the network anymore. So we're going to be talking about that and a lot more. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be talking about Superman Lois in regards to Brainiac, because we got an update in regards to the casting and who will be potentially playing Superman Lois's new big bad, Brainiac. So this is coming from comicbook.com. I'll leave the article in the description below. They actually released this article a couple of weeks ago, and I've been meaning to talk about it since, because basically we got the confirmation after episode 1 and episode 2, when we got that Brainiac reference in those first episodes, that Brainiac is coming. That was confirmed by the Superman Lois showrunners, and the version of the character that we're going to be seeing is Milton Fine from the comics. Now it's going to be Superman Lois's own take on the character. I wouldn't be expecting a full-blown big bad Brainiac who's going to cause Superman so much trouble. I think it's going to be their own take on it, so it's going to be a little bit different. Now, this article goes on and it's quite long, you guys can read it, but it gives you a little bit of backstory into Milton Fine as Brainiac, who first appeared in the 1980s run of Superman titles in the comics, and then you've seen him at various points. But the showrunners of Superman Lois had this to say in regards to Brainiac, and they confirmed something big about the casting, and you guys are going to want to stick around for that. So they say, considering what we needed for our story, when the opportunity presented itself to use Milton, it worked out great. Obviously talking about what we haven't seen yet. And this is a completely different version of this guy. So that was exciting. We always like to tell our own version of the story, and it ends up being pretty fun. So there's the confirmation that the Brainiac we're gonna see, this Milton Fine character, is going to be different from the comics. He's going to be Superman Lois's own version of the character, and it's going to be fun, which is interesting. So in my opinion, I don't think he's going to be that all-out big bad that we know Brainiac to be in the comics, and so the decision to use Milton Fine's version of the character makes a lot of sense for Superman Lois, a show that has been steeped in the mythology of what fans call the Triangle era of Superman, talking about some of the comic book stories from the 90s. Now, I don't know how specifically inspired they were by these comics, but apparently during the Triangle era, Superman comics introduced fan favorite characters including the Eradicator, Steel, Doomsday, and others that appeared in Superman Lois, so that's the reason that they bring up the Triangle era. And that said, don't expect a one-to-one recreation of Brainiac's story on Superman Lois. There is simply not enough time in the 10-episode season that also has to tackle the death and return of Superman. And so they say, I don't know if I would say Triangle era. I felt like it was pretty specific to the show. So that is Brent Fletcher, one of the showrunners, confirming it's not definitely inspired just by that one era of Superman comics. Obviously they've taken a lot of characters that were introduced around the 90s, like Steel and everyone, but Helbing chimed in to say, I totally agree. And then they said, it's just time and space. We have 10 episodes. We don't have a ton of time to really develop the full Triangle era Brainiac, you know, but the one we have, I think, is pretty enjoyable for where we used him. So the arrival of Brainiac in the story solves one of the two major lingering mysteries that have been hanging over the final season of Superman Lois since Comic-Con this summer. The first was the identity of a mystery DC character that the showrunners said they were surprised they got permission to use, which has now been confirmed that was Brainiac. And a second mystery role is being played by Tom Cavanagh, best known obviously for playing Reverse Flash and Harrison Wells on The Flash. And so the actor will appear in some episodes of season 4 of Superman Lois, but his role has been kept under wraps. And so comicbook.com asked the showrunners, is Tom Cavanagh playing Brainiac, which we all presumed he was, because we heard, okay, there's going to be a mystery character and Tom's playing a mystery character, so we just added the two things up together. But no, it turns out it's not. Both showrunners confirmed in unison that Tom won't be playing Brainiac, despite what fans have been theorizing about recently, and they say, I won't even give that a no comment, I don't want to set the expectation. He says, we have a fun thing for Tom. but he will not be playing Brainiac. That is the big update that I needed to bring you guys, because I think it's natural that we all presumed maybe he was playing Brainiac, and that would have been insane if he was, because he's such a fan favorite in the Arrowverse. But also Brainiac is such a big character in DC Comics, and especially in relation to Superman, so that would have been super exciting, and I kind of wish they did that. But they have a different role for Tom. That's another mystery role. So we got 2 mysteries remaining. Who's going to be playing Brainiac, and who is Tom Cavanaugh going to be playing? We know he's playing someone from the comics that they got permission to use, but we don't know exactly who he is playing. But for now, let's move on to our second main topic. This is to do with the shit show that is the CW. So the CW president has stepped down 2 years after Nexstar took over the CW. And so Brad Schwartz, who is the entertainment chief, is going to be taking the CW president top spot instead of Dennis Miller, who has just stepped down. Now, the reason that I wanted to bring this up is I want to go over some of the quotes that they include in this TV Line article, because it's quite hilarious. And obviously the CW has really changed over the last couple of years since Nexstar took over in 2022. They cancelled a bunch of shows, they've ended loads of shows, they've got nothing basically left on their calendar. All they've got really is Superman Lois and its final season, they got All American, and then they've got some sports content that, you know, is somewhat popular, and I guess it's going to do some decent numbers, but the whole CW, its image is completely in the mud because of these guys. Now, we have to break this down. So Dennis Miller, who served as a network president ever since the CW was acquired and taken over by Nexstar Media Group in 2022, is stepping down from his post effective October 31st. The TV Line article goes on to say the CW premiered the 4th and final season of Superman Lois, the sole survivor of an Arrowverse slate that was once at least half a dozen shows strong, launched game show versions of Trivial Pursuit and Scrabble board games, and debuted the Sophie Turner starrer Joan Sullivan's Crossing Season 2 and another docu-series. I know one of them got moved already to a different date because it wasn't performing well. And beyond Superman Lois, the CW's scripted slate includes All American, which has a season 7 in the works, The Chosen, which is an acquired series from somewhere else, Wildcards, which arrives with a season 2 in 2025. That is like one of the only original shows that they got going, but it's really cheap to make and that's why they went for it. And an upcoming series to do with Sherlock and his daughter. And so this is the quote, and I wanted to break this down because I think it's quite hilarious just looking at where the CW is, and they don't really realize how they've screwed the future of the network. So I've had a front row seat during a remarkable 11-year run with Nexstar and enjoyed navigating this period of significant transformation for the network. So obviously he was a part of Nexstar before they took over the CW, but he became like the head guy, the CW president, after Mark Pedowitz stepped down when Nexstar took over, because obviously Mark wasn't very happy with the way that they wanted to transform the network, get rid of all the shows that he worked so hard on. And so he goes on to say, with some of the highest ratings the CW has seen in years and long-term contracts with an array of premium live sports in place, the future of the CW looks very promising. So I just find that hilarious that he's trying to pick on the good things. Obviously they probably had a few good episodes here and there that had some high ratings. Potentially the premium sports could be a thing that has performed decently well, but I just don't understand when he says the future of the CW looks very promising. I think he is ducking and running. Like, why is he leaving after 2 years? He clearly can see the CW has no future. This is probably going to be sold off at some point and the CW is going to be nothing more. That's just the way that I see this and I read into this. But I just find it funny that he's trying to pick at the few good things that they've done whilst literally destroying the entire network, and the image of the network and the brand is completely gone. The CW is not the CW anymore. It's just a random network that has a few shows left, like Superman Lois, which they are extremely fortunate to have. And so Nexstar's chairman and CEO chimed in saying, "We were fortunate that Dennis agreed to move from Nexstar's board to lead the transformation of the CW." So obviously he was on their board. He wasn't really in the know when it comes to leading an entire television network. So I think that just goes to prove he had no idea what he was doing. But during his tenure, he installed a new leadership team at CW, which has failed, by the way, and they have broadened the appeal of its programming and enhanced the value of its affiliations for both Nexstar and our partners. And that is the key thing here. It's only worked out for Nexstar, and it's not worked out for the CW, and I don't understand them saying it's broadened the appeal of its programming. Yes, you've added sports, yes, you've added game show versions of board games, but you've limited its appeal to younger audiences by killing off its genre television shows because they were just too expensive for you, because you wanted to make a profit, and that's their whole thing. And that's why we've all been so annoyed by this regime at the CW, and we can't wait for Superman Lois to finish so we can just be done with this network, because honestly, they only put profits first and they think about Nexstar first before the CW's audience, and they definitely don't care about the way this is moving forward, and they only care about making money. But yeah, that's the comment, and that is the news that the CW president has stepped down after 2 years, probably because he realized, okay, this is going nowhere, and my name's going to be dragged through the mud for the next however many years if he remains there. So Brad Schwartz is stepping up, and his name's going to be dragged even more through the mud, and he's probably going to be forgotten about after Superman Lois finishes, because all you've got is All American, and that's it. And then people will just be coming in to tune into random sports every now and again, but no one's going to be regulars on your network, guys. I hate to break it to you, but Nexstar, you don't know what you're doing. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on that down in the comments below, guys. But for now, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.